Perfect. Okay. Well, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on our biweekly call, our product training call. We're excited to have Austin Winager back with us. Um, I also love hearing Austin speak. I mean, he is. I consider him a genius just because he's so much smarter than me, and he knows so much not only about our USANA products but health in general and how we can impact our health. So I love listening to him. I'm super excited that he's here to share his knowledge with us about MagneCal D. As many of you know, that we had an upgrade to our chewable calcium, and he's going to just talk a little bit about that, but he's really going to focus on the MagneCal D, and like I said here, as it says here on his title slide, introducing a perfect balance. So, Austin, thank you so much for being here. He is one of our scientists there at USANA. He works a lot with, even as a scientist, a lot of articles and research, and really working with the team who interacts with our associates through as a scientist. So, Austin, I'll turn the time over to you. And again, thank you for being here and sharing with us all your knowledge and expertise.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, just to give a little more background on myself, I joined USANA in 2011. And in that entire time, I've always been involved with the research and development group, whether that's through some clinical trials, product formulations at some point. What I was doing a lot of for the first few years there was taking US formulas, which is kind of where we develop products first, and then applying those to some of our other markets, because based on ingredient regulations and laws, we have to alter them a little bit. So I spent a lot of time trying to make the very best formula possible everywhere around the world. These days, I spend most of my time really on customer education. So things like this, webinars. I have the website askthescientist.com, which is USANA's kind of customer education interface for science and health. It has information about all of USANA's products, nutrition, exercise, fitness, microbiome, kind of anything you might be interested in regarded to nutrition and overall wellness. And today I'm really going to focus on MagneCal D. I created this presentation probably about 4 years ago when we first launched MagneCal. So it kind of touches on some of the changes from our old product, Active Calcium, that we changed to MagneCal D, which is also applicable to the new change from our Active Calcium chewable to the MagneCal D chewable, and why we went from a focus just on calcium to including a little bit more magnesium as well. So first, we'll touch on some of the ingredients here. I mean, calcium, as you all know, is really, really important for bone health. It's kind of what we always talk about with calcium. It's the most abundant mineral in the body by far, and it's also involved in nerve conduction. So to be able to have all your muscles contract, your body movement, uses calcium in every single one of those interactions. It's involved in certain hormones. Kind of a lot of what it's involved in specifically with hormones is through sending signals to your kidneys so that they know how much liquid to keep in your body versus how much to release through urine. And so it plays a lot of roles in the body overall. And supplemental calcium has less to do with muscle and nerve function and kidney function, and more to do with bone health, because that muscle, nerve, and kidney function are the absolute critical aspects to the body. And so what happens is when your body needs a little bit of extra calcium to do those essential functions, it uses your bones kind of as a storage facility, and it'll actually pull calcium from the bones to make sure that the nerve system is working and that kidney function is working. And so what happens to keep those other functions working regularly is if you're not eating enough calcium, it'll just drain more and more and more from your bones on a regular basis. And so that's why you always hear about, weak or brittle bones being the ultimate symptom of low calcium intake, is because that's where your body pulls it from very first. And so if you're not eating enough calcium, your bones are where you'll notice it. But ultimately, it's responsible for a lot of different functions in your body. Magnesium is the other mineral we'll talk about today. It's more responsible also in bones. It helps in calcium absorption. It's also stored in bones a little bit and plays a role in some of the different cells that are involved in bone mineralization, but it plays lots and lots of roles in all the different protein enzymes throughout your body. And so it really plays kind of like calcium, lots of different areas, but then if you're not eating enough, where you'll see the symptoms of insufficiency is in your bones once again. And so it's kind of that's where all your negative detriment is if you're not getting enough calcium and magnesium. And then MagneCal D, the D stands for vitamin D, is the final thing there. And that once again plays a role in calcium absorption, bone mineralization. You might have heard of rickets before, which that's just basically poor bone function or poor bone mineralization as a result of not eating enough vitamin D. So even if you're getting enough calcium and enough magnesium in your diet, if you don't get enough vitamin D, you'll have some of those same poor results in your overall bone health. And so that's why we've focused on all three of these inside of this product. So the reason for the change over the last few years, most companies are still offering calcium supplements, and we need lots of calcium. And that's actually why we've done some of the change from a purely a calcium focused supplement to MagneCal, or something that has magnesium and calcium and vitamin D, is because so many people are focused on calcium. So your typical ratios that you would ideally want in your diet is about a 1.7 to 2.8 of calcium to magnesium. However, over the years, because we've all heard about the calcium deficiencies and it's been a problem for so long, we've actually gotten better at eating calcium more. People have heard the message. It's taken a few decades to hear it, but over the last couple decades, people have started to eat more dairy products, whether that's milk. I don't think milk intake's increased as much, but people are eating more yogurt. There's some calcium in cheese, and also people are just eating calcium supplements overall. And so people have actually done a good job of increasing their calcium to some extent. It's not necessarily enough, but it's better than it was. And so rather than that ratio that I showed earlier, what we're seeing, that 1.7 to 2.3 or 2.8, people are actually getting about a 3-to-1 calcium to magnesium. So they're getting more calcium than typically we've had in the past, but still haven't increased their magnesium proportionally. And so that's ultimately why this product has about a 1-to-1 ratio of calcium to magnesium, is we're trying to basically, there's these gaps, and we have this target goal for calcium and magnesium, and then you have what people are eating, and we're trying to fill that gap. And so it's not that you need more magnesium than calcium, it's that dietary wise, this 1-to-1 ratio seems to fill that gap the very best. And so that's why we include both calcium and magnesium and vitamin D in our bone health product. The minerals are provided in both citrates and carbonates. You might hear or read things about how citrate is better or how carbonate is better. And anybody focusing on one over the other doesn't really look at the complete story. Each of them have their benefits. Citrates are great because they're absorbed a little bit quicker if you don't have any food in your stomach at the time, because they take a little bit more stomach acid to absorb. They're also a little bit more compact as far as tablet size, so the tablets aren't quite as big. However, the carbonates don't need as much stomach acid to digest. They each have their benefit, and that's why we provide a mix of both. It's about a 50-to-50 ratio of both citrates and carbonates for the calcium inside this product. And then finally, it also does contain vitamin D, because like I said, even if you have enough calcium and magnesium, without vitamin D, you won't be able to absorb the calcium and process it properly. And then we include small amounts of silicon and boron that are also important for bone health. So this kind of highlights those three big ingredients. Magnesium helps absorb calcium. It also plays a role in the synthesis of the specific cells involved in bone mineralization. Calcium is the primary building block. And then vitamin D also helps in absorption, and it plays other roles in the body like immune health, lung health, cardiovascular health, and lots of other roles. So ultimately, It's kind of just overall a bone health formula, but then, like I said, it helps these bone minerals play lots of other roles in the body so that they can pull it from the bloodstream rather than just from the bones. I'm going to focus on now some of the age groups that it might be relevant for and how it plays a role in different people. So if you look at women from 18 to 39, and basically just kind of, and even younger than 18, what you'll see is that for women of that age, that's really their bone building time of life. And so that's really when you need lots of extra calcium in your diet. This helps build up strong bones, strong teeth, strong nails, and really provides good overall bone density throughout your entire life. And the reason you need to do it at this younger age for women is because once you're a little bit older, it's much, much harder for women to build bone mass. And men as well, but women specifically have a harder time building bone mass and maintaining bone mass as they age. So when you're younger, it's really your bone building time in your entire life. And you've heard probably about osteoporosis and other bone mineral issues. And those are diseases that the old face, but they're symptoms of improper calcium intake in your younger years of life, really that first 30 years of life. And then as you get a little bit older, you can't build bone mass quite the same, but if you do keep your calcium, magnesium levels in your blood higher, the plus side is for that nervous system I was talking about earlier, and for kidney function and some of the other functions, your body will pull it from the blood rather than from the bones if you have sufficient levels in your blood all the time. And so that's why it's essential to keep regular once or twice a day a supplement of calcium, magnesium once you're getting a little bit older and you're worried about keeping proper bone function. Men specifically, they don't typically have quite the bone mineralization issue if they're eating a regular diet of some dairy products or other good sources of calcium, but it does play a good role in muscle strength and function. When you're sweating heavily, you're going to lose some of these electrolytes, like you've heard about sodium, potassium, but you also lose a little bit of calcium and magnesium through sweat, or you lose them through your urine. And so when you're exercising more heavily, and so that would be the primary role for men who are a little bit younger as well, who'd be in that type of age group. And then overall, when you're just looking at who might want to take a calcium supplement, you really need to look at your diet as a whole. People who are eating a lot of, I keep mentioning dairy because that's really your best source of calcium products. So if you're eating a lot of dairy products, you're probably okay. But what might be worthwhile, which is really easy these days with just all the phone tracking apps, is track your diet for a few days, see what your typical calcium and magnesium intake is, and then aim for, I would say, probably about 1,100, 1,200 milligrams a day. So if you're getting 400 milligrams a day, you'd want to supplement, about an extra 800 milligrams a day through MagneCal D and the Cell Essentials. So you look at the combination of those two. Versus on the alternate side, if you're getting 1,000 or 1,200 milligrams a day exclusively from your diet, you probably don't need a supplement. So I get often asked, how many tablets a day should I be taking of the MagneCal D? It really depends on how much you're getting from your diet. And so what you want to do is take your diet, subtract that from 1,000 to 1,200 milligrams a day, and then supplement the rest to get up to that level is what you should be doing. And so that overall is really where MagneCal D fits in. Like TJ mentioned at the beginning, we have a great new chewable version of this as well. So chewable is good because it gets in your blood a little bit quicker. And as a result of that, getting in your stomach quicker as well, it can provide a little bit of a buffer if you're eating with a meal. So it can help neutralize some of the stomach acid if you have issues with that. It's good for people who don't want to swallow tablets. And this provides an overall alternative. Otherwise, functionally, they're pretty similar. It's just for people who'd rather do a chewable instead of another tablet to swallow daily. If you have any questions, like I mentioned at the beginning, myself and my team some of the other researchers at USANA run a website called askthescientists.com. There's a whole page dedicated to MagneCal D. You can email us individual questions on there. And with that, I just want to thank you for joining, and I hope you have a good day and that you enjoy this product. Thank you very much.